तव कथामृतम् तप्तजीवनम् कविभिरीडितम् कल्मषापहम् श्रवणमङ्गलम् श्रीमदाततम् भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः।
ॐ तव कथामृतं तप्तजीवनं कविभिरीडितं कल्मषापहं श्रवणमङ्गलं श्रीमदाततं भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः. We are studying the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, and the conversations relate to December 6, Saturday, December 6, 1884, and the conversations are with Bankim Chandra, the great novelist of Bengal. And in the English, we are at the top of page 672, while in Bengali, that has been pushed to the Parishishta or appendix, and there we are on page 1120. And 1120 Chaturtha Pariched, Age Vidya na Age Ishwar. In Bengali, in English, of course, there is no subheading. Now, the last item before this was that Thakur had asked, sweet things over. Shambhu said, Bankim had asked, indeed, money is clay. Sir, if you have a few pennies, you can help the poor. If money is clay, then a man cannot give in charity or do good to others. On that, Thakur had sharply replied that charity, doing good to others, how dare you say you can do good to others? And in this way, he had gone on talking and said, of course, people can do good as a sadhana, as a means of going nearer to God. And those who have realized God can really help people, and all their works are without the least attachment. And if work is done without attachment, it will help to go to Godwards. And the last sentence was, Janaka and sages like him work in the world at the command of God. That was another point which Thakur said, that when people who have realized the truth, they work, it is not which they work. It is God who works through them. They are mere instruments in the hands of God. So that is how the work becomes without attachment. At this point now, Thakur is turning to Bankim again and saying to Bankim, some people think that God cannot be realized without the study of books and scriptures. Because Bankim was a scholar and he must have this idea. So Thakur has told some people they think that first of all, one should learn of this world and its creatures, that first of all, one should study science. Now, in this respect, there are many things to be told. In Maharashtra, the great saint Samartha Ramdas Swami had said somewhere in one line, Adi prapancha karava netaka maga ghave paramartha viveka. Translated in English should become depends upon you. First, one should make his worldly life perfect and then think of God. As I said, as you prefer. So some people say, Ramdas Swami is telling, first you should do world and then think of God. Ramdas Swami is not telling that. He is telling it to householders, one who is already in the world. So the life, worldly life, should be as much perfected as possible. Perfected does not mean from the worldly sense of view. Perfected itself means that, as Sri Ramakrishna said, putting one hand on God's feet and one hand in the world. And relatively, if the work in the world is shabby, then no sincerity, then if such be your life in the world, you cannot expect to think of God. That is the lesson. That work in the world should be perfect as per as your capacity. This perfection can come only if you are really sincere. And that is what Ramdas Swami demands. And it does not contradict with all the scriptures where Gita tells us that first you do the work in the world in a dedicated way, dedicated to God. And then that will give you an elevation where you can think of God fully. So, but I refer to that idea in Maharashtra. People take that to support their weakness. Now, here, some people think that one should learn of this mistake also. There is a Apara Dve Vidye Veditavye Mundaka tells us. Dve Vidye Veditavye Paracha Apara. Now, Shankar interprets it to tell Dve Vidye Iti Veditavye. We should know that there are two types of knowledge. The lesson is clear in context. Shaunaka, a great householder, had felt that there is a reality which is common to the subject and object. There is a reality which is common to the whole world. And he has gone to the forest to Angiras to know the nature of that reality and how to realize it. That is his question. Now, his idea is that just as I study so many objects of the world, so many sciences of the world, this is a great science. But Angiras tells him that if it is a common reality, it is reality, your reality also. And you study the world as subject studying the objects. You study anything of the world, it is subject studying the objects. But if you have to study your own reality, this method cannot hold good. That is what he means. Why? And he has defined. Apara Vidya means all the scriptures, including Upanishads. Paravidya is not defined by any books. Paravidya is that by which you will realize the common reality. So, Dve vidye iti veditavye. You should know that knowledge itself is of two types. In the context, it is very clear that your idea of knowledge is subject knowing the object, but you want to know the common reality. So there this method will not do. So there are two types of knowledge, the lower and the higher. Now there science is not mentioned at all. Vedas are mentioned. So science was not taken as significant knowledge in the Vedas. Vedas means all knowledge, but no. Vedas means the knowledge gained by Swami Pitambarananda's words. Yogaja Sukshma Shakti Grahya. If that, Swamiji's definition, if knowledge is gathered by the five senses and any amount of reason based upon that, it is called physical science. Knowledge based upon the subtler perceptions which come through yoga is called Vedas. So, science is not mentioned there at all. Vedangas are mentioned only to enable us to understand the meaning of the Vedas. And so, that is called as lower knowledge. But our people, including mission sadhus, say lower knowledge is science, higher knowledge is religion, and we should study both, which is not meant at all in the context. Similar is the view here. And first science and then God's knowledge. This is the view of many people who do not understand things, that they are opposite to each other. Subject knowing the object, that type of knowledge, as Shankar says, has to be given up. Apara vidya hi avidya sa nirakartavya. Then only the mind should be trained in knowing your own reality. That requires a great training. And that training cannot come by the knowledge of science. The use of science, knowledge of science or any other science has some use. And that use is you start to struggle to understand things. So in comparison with not trying to understand things as they are, how can you think of the real nature of things? So that much is the value of any secular knowledge, that you are at least trying to struggle to know things, not more than that. So this is what the thing here. Some people think that God cannot be realized without the study of books and scriptures. First he talks of scriptures and then even the law. They think that first of all one should learn of this world and its creatures. That first of all one should study science. Science word Thakur must have used he has used the word in English, science. And that is why all laugh. In Thakur's mouth, the English words appear very sweet. And so that is what the people love. They have nothing to do about what Thakur is telling, only the use of the word science in English. They think that one cannot realize God without first understanding his creation. Which comes first, science or God? What do you say? So he wants to find out how Bankim's mind works. Because up till now we found that Bankim is not seriously replying to Sri Ramakrishna and poking at something, money and all that. So Thakur somehow wants to know, Bankim, I too think that we should first of all know about the different things of the world. So it has come out now. And Thakur expected that, that is why he has asked it. Very clear. How can we know God without knowing something of this world? We should first learn from books. So, books of science and then include the scriptures also. Master, that's the one cry from all of you. All of you Western educated young people of Bengal. But God comes first and then the creation. Thakur is very clear on this point. Transcendent, immanent reality. After attaining God, Nirvikal Samadhi, you can know everything else if it is necessary. If it is necessary and if you know God, Brahma Vidya, Sarva Vidya Pratishtham. If you know the innermost nature of everything, you know everything easily. As soon as you put your mind in something, you will immediately know it. Example, Swami Vivekananda was lecturing in America. Now his lecture on Vedanta and spiritual matters were supreme. And there were professors and students of a university. Now the professors somehow wanted to pose before the students their superiority over Swamiji. So they asked Swamiji, have you studied chemistry? There is no relevance, but they asked. Swamiji said, yes, I know a little. They said, will you tell us some authors of chemistry? No, that is not in Swamiji's normal study. But just he concentrated his mind and rattled off such a big list of books in chemistry which the professors together did not know. So, to silence others, just a little putting the mind in that side, all knowledge comes to you. Because the source of all knowledge is God. And the students became happy that somebody has put our teachers down. So, understood this thing. If we realize God, take the philosophies for example. The so-called orthodox view is that you must study grammar, you must study Nyaya, you must study Sankhya, then only you can understand Vedanta. But my teachers all have told me it is not at all necessary. Rather, if you go through these sciences, your mind gets a rut of that Sankhya philosophy and Nyaya. On the other hand, if the mind is simple, pure enough, you can understand Vedanta. And it is rather the other way around. One has understood Vedanta, the nature of the ultimate truth. Judging from that, you can understand all other philosophies very easily. So that is what Thakur is telling. That if you know God, you can know everything, if necessary. Otherwise, it is not necessary, why should you go? It is not necessary. He gives example after example from the practical world. If you can somehow get yourself introduced to Jadumallik, a rich man, then you will be able to learn, if you want to, the number of his houses and gardens and the amount of his money invested in government securities. Again and again this reference comes because in those days banks and private deposits were not there. The only best way of investing was in government securities. Jadu Malik himself will tell you all about them. But if you haven't met him and if you are stopped by his doorkeepers when you try to enter his house, then how will you get the correct information about his houses, gardens, and government security? Thakur's very elementary examples to understand. When you know God, you know all else. But then you don't care to know small things. The same thing is stated in the Vedas. Thakur knows it. You talk about the virtues of a person as long as you haven't seen him. But no sooner does he appear before you than all such talk stops. You are beside himself with joy simply to be with him. Aha. You feel overwhelmed by simply conversing with him. You don't talk about his virtues anymore. Virtues, merits, or qualities better. Tar guner kata. Gun here simply means qualities, not virtues. That means knowing him through some qualities. Knowing reality is different than knowing the qualities. And if you know the reality, you know all the attributes. First realize God. Then think of the creation and other things. Through God, you can understand the creation. If you know the Creator, then how He creates, with what He creates, everything becomes clear. You will come to know that both the material cause and the efficient cause is God Himself. God Himself has appeared as this world. Otherwise, independently, what is the use of knowing the details of the world? Valmiki was given the name of Rama to repeat as a mantra, but was told at first to repeat Mara because his tongue could not produce the good word Rama. Ma means God and Ra the world. First God and then the word. So that is the use of the word Mara. Not simply that Mara. If you know one, you know all. Another example. If you put 50 zeros after a 1, you have a large sum. But erase the 1 and nothing remains. It is the one that makes the many. First one, then many. First God, then his creatures and the world. So Thakur, through various examples, has shown that the one thing you need is to realize God. Need. What do you bother so much about the world, creation, science, and all that? Your business is to eat mangoes. What need you have to know how many hundreds of trees there are in the orchard, how many thousands of branches, and how many millions of leaves? You have come to the garden to eat mangoes. Go and eat them. Man is born in this world to realize God. Man is born in this world of men to realize God. It is not good to forget that and divert the mind to other things. So straight Thakur is telling, you have come to eat mangoes. Eat the mangoes and be happy. Bankim. Where do we get the mangoes? So he has that crooked way, always. Thakur said, first eat the mangoes. He said, where do we get the mangoes? But Thakur has a reply to everyone which Bankim is saying, everyone, right or wrong. Master, pray to God with a longing heart. He will surely listen to your prayer if the prayer is sincere. Perhaps he will direct you to holy men with whom you can keep company, and that will help you on your spiritual path. So that is mangoes. Huh? Perhaps someone will tell you, do this and you will attain God. Aha. So mangoes means realization of God. Where do we get? With sadhus. Bankim. Who? The Guru. Again, that problem has come. He enjoys all the good mangoes himself and gives us the bad ones. What is his definition? They may be a realized person, but they are not useful to us. Master, why should that be so? The mother knows what food suits the stomach of her different children. So, why Guru does not tell you about the Brahman immediately is according to your capacity. So, Guru is kind. He will give you everything. He will make you get everything, but slowly and gradually. That is what Thakur is explaining. Why Guru gives you bad mangoes? Guru gives you that thing which you can digest. And when you are digested that, Guru will give you the higher things. The mother knows what food suits the stomachs of her different children. Can all of them digest pulao and kalia? Suppose a fish has been procured, the mother doesn't give pulao and kalia to all the children. For the weak child with a poor stomach, she prepares simple soup. But does that mean she loves him the less? Thakur's examples are very sweet. One must have faith in the Guru's words. The Guru is none other than Satchidananda, God Himself teaching you through the Guru. So you have to put faith in His words. How to learn from Guru? That Thakur is telling positively. If you only believe His words like a child, you will realize God. What faith a child has? When a child's mother says to him about a certain man, he is your brother, the child believes he really is his brother. The child believes it 125%, though he may be the son of a Brahmin and the man the son of a blacksmith. There may be difference, but mother says he is your brother, he becomes his brother. The mother says to the child, there is a bugaboo in the room. And the child really believes there is a bugaboo in the room. Such is the What is this bugaboo? Juju, something like a ghost. One must have this childlike faith in the Guru's words. God cannot be realized by a mind that is hypocritical, calculating, or argumentative. One must have faith and sincerity. Hypocrisy will not do. To the sincere, God is very near, but he is far, far away from the hypocrite. I will give you a similarly. Suppose you are standing in front of the gate of Belur Math. If your face is toward Belur Math, how much distance is Belur Math? One step. And if you are facing away from Belur Math, how much distance is Belur Math? 25,000 miles. So, this hypocritical man his direction is opposite to that of God. Sincere man, his face is towards God. We used to express this in a funny way. Somebody's house is where? In front of the ashrama. But people will say opposite the ashrama. So if it is opposite, it will take more time. If it is in front, it will come immediately. So view, different views, attitudes. One must have for God the yearning of a child. So faith, one point. Question is how to get the good mangoes. First, faith in Guru's words. Then one must have for the yearning of a child for God. Yearning of a child with surrender. The child sees nothing but confusion when his mother is away. You may try to cajole him by putting a sweetmeat in his hands, but he will not be fooled. He only says, "No, I want to go to my mother." One must feel such yearning for God. Ah, what yearning! How restless a child feels for his mother. Nothing can make him forget his mother. He to whom the enjoyment of worldly happiness appears tasteless, he who takes no delight in anything of the world, money, name, creature comforts, sense pleasure, becomes sincerely grief-stricken for the vision of the mother. And to him alone the mother comes running, leaving all her other duties. So he has made it very clear. The restlessness is the whole thing. Whatever path you follow, whether you are a Hindu, a Muslim, a Christian, a Shakta, a Vaishnava, or a Brahmo, the vital point is restlessness for God. God is our inner guide. It doesn't matter if you take a wrong path, only you must be restless for Him. He Himself will put you on the right path. Besides, there are errors in all paths. Everyone thinks his watch is right, but as a matter of fact, no watch is absolutely right, but that doesn't hamper one's work. If a man is restless for God, he gains the company of sadhus and as far as possible corrects his own watch with the sadhu's help. So if he is sincere and yearning for God, God will put him in company with sadhus and from that he will get the correct path. So this much is the conversation with Bankim. At this point, Trailokya of the Brahma Samaj began to sing. Presently, Sri Ramakrishna stood up and lost consciousness of the outer world. So all this discussion gone. The moment he heard song on God, he has reached God. He became completely enthroned, absorbed in samadhi. The devotees stood around him in a circle. Pushing aside the crowd, Bankim came near the master and began to watch him attentively. He had never seen anyone in samadhi. So how will you understand unless you see? Main point. Unless you see a spiritual being, you will never understand what is spirituality. After a few minutes, Sri Ramakrishna regained partial consciousness and began to dance in the ecstatic mood. That is partial consciousness. Partial external consciousness. It was a never to be forgotten scene. Bankim and his anglicized friends looked at him in amazement. Was this the God intoxicated state? The devotees also watched him with wondering eyes. So there were devotees and there were Bankim's friends. The singing and dancing over, the master touched the ground with his forehead. That is practical spirituality. Saying, Bhagavad Bhakta Bhagavan, salutations to the Jnanis, yogis and bhaktas, salutations to all. So, one has to honor those who are nearer to God than us, belonging to any denomination. He sat down again and all sat around him. Bankim to the master, Sir, how can one develop divine love? I think this is the first proper question. Master, through restlessness, the restlessness of a child feels for his mother. The child feels bewildered when he is separated from his mother and weeps, longing for her. If a man can weep like that for God, he can even see him. So the question was of divine love. And Thakur says, even see him. He can go up to realization also. At the approach of dawn, the eastern horizon becomes red. Then one knows it will soon be sunrise. So one has to hold on to that eagerness. Likewise, if you see a person restless for God, you can be pretty certain that he hasn't long to wait for his vision. A disciple asked his teacher, Sir, please tell me how I can see God. Come with me, said the Guru, and I shall show you. He took the disciple to a lake and both of them got into the water. Suddenly the teacher pressed the disciple's head under the water. After a few moments, he released him and the disciple raised his head and stood up. The Guru asked him, How did you feel? The disciple said, Oh, I thought I should die. I was pointing for breath. The teacher said, when you feel like that for God, then you will know you haven't long to wait for his vision. So that restlessness, keenness, intensity has brought God nearer to you. What do you say? Oh, that is sounding. Let it sound. Here it is clear. To Bankim, let me tell you something. What will you gain by floating on the surface? Dive a little under the water. The gem lies deep under the water. So what is the good of throwing your arms and legs about on the surface? A real gem is heavy. It doesn't float. It sinks to the bottom. To get the real gem, you must dive deep. Then only you will get God. Bankim, sir, what can we do? We are tied to a car. It prevents us from diving. So he has a worldly simile for everything, just as Thakur has a spiritual simile for unity. All laugh, Master. All sins vanish if one only remembers God. So solution lies there itself. His name breaks the fetters of death. You must die, otherwise you can't get the gem. Listen to a song. So Thakur will impress the minds of people through the song. The master sang in his sweet voice. Dive deep, O mind, dive deep in the ocean of God's beauty. If you descend to the uttermost depth, there you will find the gem of love. Go seek, O mind, go seek Vrindavan in your heart, where with his loving devotees Sri Krishna sports eternally. Go dive deep within yourself, you'll find God and his play. Light up, O mind, light up true wisdom's shining lamp, and let it burn with steady flame unceasingly within your heart. Who is it that steers your boat across this solid earth? It is your Guru, says Kubi. Meditate on his holy feet. So this is the song Thakur sang. This Kubir is not Kabira. The Guru is rowing on solid ground. So Guru knows the deepest secrets of God. So that is the meaning. The reverse of what you expect. That is another thing. Knowledge of the world is this side. Knowledge of God is other side. So the Guru does not only row the boat in the water, but he knows how to row it on the solid ground also. That is the meaning, like Yanisha Sarvutana. All listen spellbound, because through sound, Thakur makes them feel it. Again, Sri Ramakrishna began to talk. Master to Bankim, there are some who do not want to dive. They say, won't we become deranged if we go to excess about God? Another important point. Referring to those who are intoxicated with divine love, they say these people have lost their heads. Shivnath used to say, so Thakur has corrected, but they don't understand the simple thing. God is the ocean of Amrita, immortality. Once I said to Narendra, suppose there was a cup of syrup and you were a fly, where would you sit to drink the syrup? Narendra said, I would sit on the edge of the cup and stretch out my neck to drink it. Why, I asked, what's the harm of plunging into the middle of the cup and drinking the syrup? Narendra answered, then I should stick in the syrup and die. My child, I said to him, that isn't the nature of the nectar of Satchidananda. It is the nectar of immortality. Man does not die from diving into it. On the contrary, he becomes immortal. Therefore, I say dive deep. Don't be afraid. By diving deep in God, one becomes immortal. Bankim bowed low before the master. He was about to take his leave. So this is after Trilokya. Bankim bowed low before the master. He was about to take his leave. Bankim, sir, I am not such an idiot as you may think. So the whole conversation is see, Bankim has hidden himself. And so Thakur has responded and he showed himself. And that has hurt Bankim. I have a prayer to make. Please be kind enough to grace my house with the dust of your holy feet. Now he's talking sincerely, but up till now the trend was not correct. Master, that's nice. I shall go if God wills. Bankim, there too you will see devotees of God. Master, smiling. How so? What kind of devotees are they? Are they like those who said Gopal, Gopal, Keshav, Keshav? Allah. So because of Bankim's crookedness all this time, Thakur is doubting what type of devotees will be there. And he is telling a story on this. A devotee, what is the story of Gopal, sir? Master smiling. Let me tell you, at a certain place there is a goldsmith shop. The workers there are known as pious Vaishnavas. They have strings of beads around their necks, religious marks on their forehead, and bags containing rosaries in their hands. They repeat the name of God aloud. One can almost call them sadhus. Only they have to work as goldsmiths to earn their bread and supper. That much like sadhus and different from sadhus. To earn their bread and support their wives and children. Many customers, hearing of their piety, come to the shop because they believe that in that shop there will be no trickery with their gold or silver. When the customers enter the shop, they are the workers repeating the name of Hari with their tongue and doing their work with their hands. No sooner they see this, the customers. No sooner do the customers take seats in the shop than one of the workers cries out, Keshav, Keshav. In Bengali, this shop is pronounced as shop, Keshav, who are all. Keshav, Keshav, Keshav. A few minutes later, another says, Gopal, Gopal, Gopal. Gopal is cowherds. After they talk a little while, the third man cries out, Hari, Hari, Hari. Shall I rob them? Shall I rob them? In the meantime, the customers have almost finished their transactions. Then the fourth exclaims, Hara, Hara, Hara. Do steal, do rob them. The customers are very much impressed with the devotion and fervor of the owners and feel themselves quite secure in handing them the money. They are sure they won't be cheated. But do you know what lies behind all this? The man who says Keshav, Keshav, after the arrival of the customers means, who are they? Keshav. Shav means all. In other words, he wants to know how intelligent they are. The man who says Gopal, Gopal means to say he finds them no better than a herd of cows. Pal here is not one protect the cows. No? Pal means a group. Gopal. Find them no better than a herd of cows. The man saying Hari Hari means, may I rob them? He suggests that since they are like a herd of cows, they can be robbed. And the last man who says Hara Hara replies, yes, rob them. He means that since the customers are like a herd of cows, they can certainly be robbed. Here, too, you see a group of pious men, very much devoted to God. Are the people in your house like them? Allah. Bankim took his leave, but he was absent-minded. When he reached the door, he discovered that he had dropped his shawl in the room. He was in his shirt sleeves. A gentleman handed him the shawl. So something had entered him and churning him from inside. Of the devotees at others' house, Sharad and Sanyal were Brahmins, but other belonged to the lower caste of the goldsmiths. And so the two Brahmins quickly left, lest they should be pressed by their host to take their meal. So much caste consciousness was there in those days. To take their meal there. Sharath and Sanyal had been coming to the master only a short time ago. Coming to the master only a short time and did not know how fond the master was of other. The master used to say that the devotees formed a separate caste by themselves. Among them, there should be no caste distinction. On the way to God, other entertained the master and the devotees with a feast. It was quite late in the evening when the devotees returned home, cherishing in their hearts the image of the master in his spiritual ecstasy and remembering his words of great wisdom. That has churned everybody. Since Bankim had invited Sri Ramakrishna to visit his house, the master a few days later sent Girish and M to his Calcutta residence, whether that invitation is genuine or not. At that time, Bankim had a long discussion with them, these two devotees, about the master. He told them that he wanted to visit Sri Ramakrishna again, but his desire was not fulfilled. Now here, if we see in the Bengali, we read it yesterday, that at the end, there is a subheading and a small 2-3 paras. December 1884, that which we were seeking. Krishabde, Shirut Adarer Vadite Thakur Sri Ramakrishna Shiva. Thakur had come to others' house on 6 December 1884, and Mr. Bankim, he had talked with Mr. Bankim there. So up till now in this appendix, that much is given. After this, on the 27th December, Saturday, Thakur was sitting at the foot of Panchavati in the Dakshineshwar in company with the devotees, and there is a book written by Bankim called Devi Chaudrani. কত কংস পাঠ শুনিয়াছিলেন ও গীতোক্ত নিষ্কাম কর্মের বিষয়ে অনেক কথা বলিয়াছিলেন. Now, though it is not mentioned, it is obvious that Master Mahasaya must have told Thakur that this is not what Ashwin Kumar is normally. He has deep spiritual habits also, to which Thakur has sent to people to judge him and then report. A little after this incident, on 27th December, Saturday, Thakur had come. Thakur was sitting at the root of Panchavati in Dakshineshwar. And the book written by Bankim Chaudhurani, that is the name of the book. Bankim's book, Devi Chaudhurani. A little portion of that Thakur had heard. Master Mahashaya has told Thakur that his philosophy you can find in that book like that. So that particular book, Thakur asked Master Mahashaya to read out. और गीतोक्त निष्काम कर्मेर विषय अनेक कथा बोली अच्छे. So there was this little talk about that in the book, and listening him, so many things Thakur had solved. So that is how the conversations of that day close. So from tomorrow, in the Bengali book, we go back and come to page 711. And the conversations will be of 14 December. Here in English, automatically that will be so. After this chapter, next chapter, 35, Saturday, December 14, 1884. Sunday, December 14, and here he says, okay, so we close for the day. It has become very clear now, the portion in the appendix, and now we have come to the regular reading. Om Tava Kathāmritam Tapta Jivanam Kavibirīditam Kalmashāpaham Shravanamangalam Srimadaatatam Bhuvi Grunanti Ye Bhurida Jana. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.